Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are taking a seriously mind-bending journey into a narrative that's going to make you question, well, the very ground you stand on, and definitely the maps you use to navigate it. We're exploring the chilling, absolutely brilliant source material known as the island at the center of all maps. So strap in, because we are literally leaving the known world behind.
I want you to start by asking yourself this terrifying core philosophical question straight from the text. What happens when a map actually consumes the world? Not when a map just describes the world, but when the act of mapping itself becomes so intensely powerful that it overrides physical reality. It's a concept that's as fascinating as it is deeply, deeply unsettling. To even wrap our heads around how this happens, we have to look at an object that completely defies logic. The text describes a journal found in Bristol with these exact chilling properties. Listen to this. It was sutured together with threads of human hair, a translucent silhouette of a man. When exposed to humidity, the silhouette weeps. I mean, this isn't just a book. It's a visceral, physically impossible artifact that somehow bridges the gap between geography and biology. Section 1. The Impossible Journal. The Bristol Finding of 1894. So the story kicks off in 1894, when a 14-year-old boy named Thomas Wicklow discovers this strange oilcloth-wrapped package just wedged beneath a suspension bridge in Bristol. When experts at the Royal Geographical Society finally got their hands on the journal inside, the physical evidence completely baffled them. I mean, they really wanted to dismiss it as a hoax, but chemical analysis proved the ink contained trace elements of the author's actual blood. And the vellum? It was made of fragments from 40 different historical documents spanning 5 centuries, all stitched together with human hair. It even had watermarks from cartographers' guilds that had been extinct for 300 years. And of course, there was that impossible weeping silhouette pressed flat right between the pages. Section 2. The cartographic anomaly. The discovery at 23 degrees west, 17 degrees north. Okay, to figure out where this bizarre journal came from, we actually have to jump back 4 years to 1890. Lord Percival Vance, a widowed cartography expert, was doing some quiet research in the British Museum when he spotted this geographic anomaly hidden in the geometry of a 1492 Venetian chart. At first, he tried to rationalize it through pareidolia, that tireless human eagerness to find patterns in total chaos, like seeing faces in the clouds. He figured his tired brain was just projecting an island into the empty space where the chart's run lines just happened to cross beyond the margins. But that rationalization completely shatters when he takes a closer look. Floating faintly in the margins of that centuries-old map is this ghost of a name, Insula Centralis, the central island. So it wasn't just a trick of the light. Some cartographer had purposefully, yet secretly, left a trace of it right there. Driven by this, Vance goes a little obsessive and pulls every single map predating 1800 from the museum's archives. And get this. He finds the island 47 times, across 47 different maps spanning 1,400 years, created by mapmakers who had never met using totally different projection methods. Now, the island is never explicitly drawn, but it is mathematically implicit in every single one of them. Convinced this place is real, Vance literally liquidates all his assets and commissions a ship to sail to those exact coordinates. Section 3, The Voyage Interior, Sailing Out of Reality. So Vance hires this rugged, no-nonsense captain named Isaiah Grent, and they set sail aboard a ship called the Proserpine in February 1891. They're heading straight into an area that modern tools say is completely empty. And as we track their journey, the physical degradation of reality is just terrifying. On February 23rd, they find exactly what you'd expect, empty ocean. But just one day later, on the 24th, the stars start looking like punctures in a canvas, and the sky turns the literal color of parchment. Fast forward to March 9th, and the ocean stops acting like water entirely and becomes a printed document, layered with text. And then the true nightmare begins. By March 12th, the crew themselves begin flattening out, turning into two-dimensional illustration. You can only imagine the sheer dread among the crew. One able seaman, Morrison, vanishes entirely. But right before he disappears, he scratches this haunting phrase into the wood above his bunk. "I saw my name in the wake." The ocean wasn't just made of text, it was actively narrating their passage, literally writing their story into existence. Just imagine the existential horror of reading your own physical description churning in the water behind your ship, right before you just vanish into the ink.
The juxtaposition here is just horrifying. These guys went from being real, three-dimensional, flesh-and-blood men with complex histories and memories to being flattened textual elements. They became 2D illustrations, reduced strictly to their narrative functions, like first mate or bosun, with floating words physically describing their features right on their skin. They weren't dying, they were being edited.
They do finally make landfall, but not on rock or soil. They land on an environment made entirely of belief and cartographic history. Picture this. The cliffs are composed of millions of layers of compressed paper. The beaches are made of macerated linen pulp. And inland, there are literal forests of giant 50-foot writing quills. I mean, imagine staring up at a 50-foot quill writing on the low-hanging clouds as the wind blows. The very ground they walk on is paved with layers of historical maps. Horrified, Vance realizes that his mere observation is giving the island permission to exist. Panicking, they run back to the ship and frantically try to flee.
Section 4. The Edge of the Map. Navigating the White Space. As they desperately try to sail away, Captain Grint makes a really chilling discovery. Inside a map, the compass does not point to magnetic north. It points to the compass rose. Vance realizes they haven't escaped the island at all. They've just moved deeper into its interior. They're trapped inside the map's gravitational pull because, well, in a map, all distances are relative to the center, and all journeys are ultimately circular.
To break out of this, Vance calculates they have to sail south-southeast to find the literal edge of the projection. But space and scale begin to wildly distort. To put this into perspective, in 12 hours, the ship's log says they sailed 300 miles, but they actually only covered 5 physical miles. Later, 6 hours of travel yields 800 miles on the log, but an entirely incalculable actual distance. The world is quite literally scaling down around them as they approach the margins.
Eventually, they hit that edge. The ocean gives way to pure, blank white space, the unmapped margin. Plunging into it, they essentially sail into the architecture of the text itself. Deep in this archive, Vance meets the author, a figure composed entirely of interwoven handwriting. The figure tells Vance that every map needs a maker and offers him the ultimate cartographer's pen. And Vance, he accepts his fate. He takes the pen, sits at the center of the atlas, and dissolves into the map, becoming the author of the very world that consumed him. Section 5. The Endless Loop. The Return to the Margin. So, with Vance gone, Captain Grint turns the ship around. He begins this harrowing journey backward through the narrative chapters they just lived through, forced to watch past versions of his crew acting out their tragic fates, completely unable to intervene. But when Grint finally reaches England in April 1891, he realizes something devastating. He hasn't returned to the real England. The lighthouses are at slightly wrong angles. Towns have incorrect names written in strange fonts. The people are moving like perfect geometric illustrations. And the Royal Geographical Society, they have absolutely no record of Lord Vance or the expedition. Grint has returned to an annotated draft of England, rebuilt entirely from cartographic memory. Grint realizes he's trapped as a character without a narrative, a reference without a referent. So he takes the journal to that Bristol Bridge and leaves it exactly where the beginning of our story said it would be found in 1894. He finally understands that the island is not a place, it's a process. The true purpose of this journal is to act as a bridge. By someone simply reading it, it connects the mapped world and the real world, inevitably pulling new explorers right back toward the center. And that brings us to Lord Vance's haunting final testament. He writes, "I will be the whispering in the margins that says there is still something left to discover." The island patiently waits. It waits for those eager to map the unmappable, feeding on that innate human desire to reduce mystery to a coordinate and a compass bearing. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought. The next time you look at a map, I want you to look closely at the edges. Look where the lines end and the blank space begins. Ask yourself, what is actually hiding in the margins of your maps? And more importantly, are you really sure you want to find out?